Hi, today boys and girls, we're going to be making hot air balloons. So here's an example of what you're going to make. And notice on the hot air balloon that on the bottom there's an opening and on the top it is put together. And these are different colored panels. You have a panel here, a panel here. You're going to be making this and I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. So here we are ready to assemble for the hot air balloon. I have 3 pieces of tissue paper as you can see here. You guys will only need 2. Mine's a little bit shorter than the ones you will have. When you guys do it, you'll have 2 that are about 4 feet, and that's exactly what we want. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your piece of tissue paper and you're going to glue it. When I glue it, I'm going to put the glue stick down and I'm going to make sure that I get all the way down, not picking it up, because if I do, and when I glue this other piece down, I could have air that gets out when I'm doing the panel. So you really want to make sure all the glue is all the way down. You put it down really good, not missing any spots. Then you're going to take your piece of tissue paper. You're going to put it over it about a 1/2 inch, like that. And then you're going to press down, making sure not to rip the paper, but hard enough so that you know that there's going to be no air bubbles between the 2 panels or the 2 pieces of tissue paper. These will be panels in a little bit. And then you're going to do that 8 different times. So now we're on to step 2. What you're going to do is we're going to have to be taking this tissue paper and we're going to have to cut it out. So tissue paper moves a ton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a quick dot on the corners of each of these, and you can watch me here. So I put a dot, I go to the next one, I put a dot, 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 a dot, and I make sure those corners are a little stuck there so that my tissue paper doesn't move. And I did that on all of the corners. And if you really want to, but it's still moving a ton, you can also do that right in the middle so it doesn't move. From there, what you're gonna then do is you're going to take the panel template, it's also called the gourd template, and you're gonna put it right down on your tissue paper. Now, because you've glued it, it shouldn't be moving too much. And then you're gonna take something to trace it with. I have a Sharpie. And I'm going to then trace the whole panel template. And then you guys can watch me as I do this. I'm going around the panel template, all the way around. This might be helpful if someone else helps you when you're doing this so they can hold it down for you. And then I'm going around. Around. Oops, I went off a little bit, so I'm just gonna retrace. No big deal. All right, so then I can take my panel template off. And then the next step is just going to be, you're gonna take your pair of scissors and you're going to cut this out. So I'm gonna take this, I'm going to cut it, and from there, I'll give you the next direction. I now have 8 panels cut out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the panels and take my glue stick, and just like before when I glued down, I'm going to glue all the way on this one edge, make sure there's no air bubble, so I'm not going to pick it up. Again, with your group members, you should have people holding it and one person gluing it. So glue all the way over. And then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to put it right on top of there and put that down right on it. And then press down, again hard, but not too hard that it breaks the paper, all the way through the edge. Now that you've glued this side together, what you're going to do is glue on the opposite side on the inside. So this is the opposite side, this is the inside. Make sure to get all the glue down. Try not to miss any spots. So then I'm going to take my panel and I'm going to glue it down. And put it seam by seam. So now that I've glued this next third panel on, what I'm gonna do is take the inside of that panel and I'm going to then glue it all again and then keep going with my panels so that the seams keep being on the inside and I just keep gluing and gluing until I make those 8 panels into the hot air balloon that I need. So now that I have all the panels glued all together, what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to put the good side out, meaning the seams should be all on the inside. And you're going to notice when you're doing that there's holes in here, that there might be some rips, and we're not going to see how that there's a hole, and I'm sure I could find a rip somewhere in here. We're not gonna worry about that yet. We're gonna fix those after we put those all together. So what I'm first gonna do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to put the pointy side on the top and I'm gonna glue the seams together, and then I'll show you right after that what you're supposed to do with the holes and the rips. So now you're going to take your complete hot air balloon and you're going to inspect it. You're going to look around and see if there's any holes in it. Like right here, I have a big hole. So I'm going to then go back and glue anywhere that I see that. And I'm just going to keep going like this so I can see the air go through and make sure there's no holes that I can glue those together. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my tissue paper scraps from before and I'll tell you what to do with that in a second. Now that I've glued all the seams and made sure there's no openings, I'm going to inspect it now to make sure that there's no rips in it. And I did find a rip in the blue, right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my scraps that I have, and since this is blue, I'll match it. You don't have to match it. I'm gonna cut it out, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take glue all over it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to then take the rip and put this right on top of the rip. Real easy. Put my fingers in, put that on, and that's it. So now that there's no air going to come out from there. Then our last step's gonna be is that we have this big opening on the top of the hot air balloon. So I'm going to put this all together. I'm gonna cut out a circle and I'm going to glue that on top. And I'll show you what that looks like in the next step. Now that I did the top of the hot air balloon, the last step is we need to put a string on the bottom of this to make this have stability when we're putting the hot air into the hot air balloon. And I'll show you that in the next step. First, we're going to cut the edges. Then we're going to take a piece of string and make it round and take the glue stick, glue all around, and then put the string inside that and wrap it around. You're gonna do that all the way around. And here's the final product with the string on the bottom, the top there, and here's your final product.